The federal government's decision to end its free childcare scheme is sounding alarm bells, with some economists worried it will entrench the disadvantage women face in the workforce. Here's Alison Pennington, who's senior economist at the Centre for Future Work. Hi, Alison. So what do you think of the government's move to end free childcare in the middle of July?
Atrocious. It will be highly damaging to women's ability to get back into the workforce. And it's just shocking, given that we are at the point now where we can see that the worst effects of this crisis in the labour market have been falling on women in terms of hours lost, more likely to be sacked, and more likely to be leaving the labour market altogether. And a large reason why this is happening is because of the financial burdens that families are facing and because of the caring burden that's falling on women's shoulders. So to pull the rug out from underneath working women at this point in time, really in their hour of need, is going to be atrocious for their ability of those women to get back into work, to maintain their existing jobs, earn their own incomes. They've got all those economic security aspects. But then it's got more wider flow-on effects for the industry itself and women's jobs in the industry and for our economic recovery overall.
But the government recognises that there needs to be, the change needs to be eased from free childcare to childcare, which is once again paid for. So they will put in place just over $700 million worth of measures for childcare services. Childcare fees are going to be capped at the level charged between the middle of February and the start of March. And childcare centres will have to keep the same number of staff. That'll all help, won't it?
Well, I mean, first of all, the supposed promise that they're going to maintain staff is very loose. It's not supported. And definitely government taking away the JobKeeper support, so the public support for those workers in the industry, is the clearest example of the job shed that's going to come. And then you have to think about if government says, well, we're giving you this little boost of $700 million, that's really just another gift to a predominantly privatised sector, which is going to allow them to restructure their affairs to maintain a successful and a sufficient profit rate so that can continue with their business model. It's quite clear, as we lay it out like that the logic of maintaining this private provision of what is critical infrastructure for our economy and for the ability of working women to get back into work, it's beyond belief at this point. It defies logic, and because everything we know about this crisis is that it's not the private sector that's going to be able to lead us and pull us out of this crisis. It's going to be long-term, sustained government investment and leadership. So what is sustainable is, I would say that this decision is the damage that's going to be caused by this decision will be felt for many, many years to come, far beyond whatever the costs of government is now of maintaining provision.
So when the government argues that free childcare can't continue because it's unsustainable for many childcare centres, you believe that those are the childcare centres in the private sector?
The reason why government is saying this is because there's a layer of the private provisioning of childcare centres who have felt like they've been their ability to earn in this time has been hampered, because the JobKeeper subsidies are propping up what they would consider to be, less profitable or less competitive competitors. And so this is the logic of government. There's no reason why this has to be passed back into private hands. It is a critical public service now, and it's not just critical for gender equality and keeping women in work and allowing them to earn. But it's actually about what kind of economy are we going to be building on the other side of this pandemic. There's a lot of the assumptions thus far have been based on the fact that we have to return some kind of model that allows a small number of private providers to make money in this time. And that shouldn't be our goals. It's not our goals in a time of great upheaval when we're trying to keep people in jobs and create new jobs too.
And just finally, Alison, some commentators have labelled the present economic circumstances as the pink recession or the pink collar recession. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, this is just the icing on the cake. And the worst part is this is something that government has done to throw fuel on the fire of this pink recession. And that is referring to the fact that, yes, women have been most likely to lose their jobs. They suffered the worst employment impacts of the shutdowns because they work in often more insecure roles and those customer-facing roles. So if government is going to pull the rug out of that support, public support for the private caring roles, then they must be investing in creating direct public sector jobs for women to go into. In lieu of that, then it's going to be reinforcing 1950s gender roles, essentially, where women are going to be far more reliant on a single income or another income, which is most likely to be a male income. And that's, this would be going back generations in our development and progress for women and access to paid work.
Alison Pennington, thank you.
Thanks.
3/4 of Australia